Today we are learning to convert decimals to percentages. This one's not a too bad concept to get as long as your grasp of decimals is pretty good. Let's start with the two most basic ones, and that's 1.0 and 0.5. Now with 1.0 you can kind of think of like one whole something. So when we got one whole something, we've got 100%. With 0.5, we've got half of one whole, so we've got 50%. Now when we've got 1/10, it's easy to get mixed up and think, oh, 0.5 is 5%. But remember, we've actually got this little placeholder next to it, this little O, which makes it 50%. So whenever you've got just a tenth in there, just think about your tens like these examples popping up below. Now let's have a look at some more exciting examples. Let's have a look at what we do when we've got a hundredth in there, like for example 0.15. So we've got that hundredth in there now. This converts really simply. All you pretty much have to do is just read that whole number there. So that means that it converts into 15%. It's the same story with 0.61. That converts into 61%, and 0.53 converts into 53%. Easy, huh? Okay, moving on to some tricky ones now. What if I have 0.07? What would that convert into as a percentage? Well, because the 7 is in the hundredth spot, not the tenth spot, that means it's going to convert into 7%, not 70%, because it's not in the tenths. It's the same story with 0.03, that's going to convert into 3%. Now, what do we do if we end up with a big decimal, like 1.36? What is that going to convert into as a percentage? Well, we know that 1.0 is 100%. And this is bigger than 1.0, so it must equal 136%. And the last examples that we're going to cover today is if we've got numbers like 0.042. So now we've got our thousandths in there. Well, if we know without this 2 here, we've got 4%, don't we? Because our 4 is in the hundredth spot. So all the 2 is going to do is make our percentage a decimal. So it's going to make it 4.2%. It's kind of confusing when you think we're converting it from a decimal to a percentage that has a decimal in it. It just blows my mind, man. So the same sort of thing is going to happen if we got 0.529. We're going to end up with a decimal place. So this one's going to turn into 52, because we got 52 here, 0.9%. So you can think of it like the first 2 decimal places, and then you put your decimal point in. And so that's pretty much the basics on how to convert decimals to percentages.